Hi, everybody. I'm John Self. Welcome to Office Hours here at johnself.com. It's, 5 o'clock in New York. It's 4 p.m. Central Time. It's 2 a.m. in Abu Dhabi and 10 o'clock at night in London. So we're delighted wherever you're watching us from today. We're delighted to have you. I'm John Self. I'm the chief content creator. I'm the founder of johnself.com and Guiding Your Career. We're an online online on demand career site where you can get access to our information and our education for $48 a month. So we're delighted to have you with us today. We'll be doing a replay later after the show on YouTube, I believe also on Facebook and LinkedIn. So thanks for joining us today. We are talking today about something that I think is really important, career planning. And I know career planning and networking, I am a broken record, guilty as charged. But you know what? Some things are changing, and I think it's really, really important that we really focus on those things. Want to tell you a little bit, some programming notes. Now that we're past the holiday season, next week we'll be back on a regular off schedule where we will have office hours at 4 p.m. on Wednesday and Career Live at 7:30 a.m. the following morning, Thursday morning. Now, as a programming note, the office hours and Lunch and Learn, two of our signature live streams after January 17th, will be available for members only. So if you really think this is good information, you'd like to continue to receive it, you can join us at johnself.com. Click the little red button on the right-hand side of the homepage, and you can get access to our membership program. We have a lot of content there, and you can get. We've extended the offer. You can get 6 free consulting coaching sessions. That's 6 hours of coaching sessions worth $800. Okay, so if you'll sign up today, we'll get you enrolled in those coaching sessions and help you go through the online on-demand career courses. A lot is happening in the world of career management. That's what we're here to talk about today. You know, rapidly changing economic values and structural shifts in management are really just turning the job markets upside down, and they're going to require fundamental changes in career management. A lot of people have sat back in their life and just sort of taken it, this is the way it's always been. But the times now are changing. Automation, technology are dramatically changing how you will have to respond in the marketplace. What you've done in the past won't get you to the future. So please pay attention. And I'm not the only one, a broken record, singing this song. There are a lot of people across the country that are struggling right now to find jobs because they got into a job search. They didn't realize things had changed. They're really struggling with all the new technology. They're struggling with how much work it takes just to file an online application, and they are horrified when they see the odds of 200 or 300 to 1 for every job you go after. So fundamental changes are occurring. This is really important. Now, we're also facing an economic uncertain times. We're not into the politics of all that, but we have seen, some really good news toward the end of the year, and that's great. But there's a great deal of uncertainty. Some banks are saying, nope, it really looks like we're going to have a hard landing. That could mean higher interest rates, a little flip in inflation. Now, the inflation numbers this morning were uneven. It's about 3.2%, 3.3%, but it's still kind of moderating back and forth a little bit. It's not moving, it did not continue to move down this month, but it's very, very uncertain. Now, there are people that are absolutely have consumed a lot of Kool-Aid and think that it's going to be a soft landing, and excuse me, and I hope so, because that means that a lot of people that might lose their jobs will be okay. But there are some certain key performance indicators, including the inverted Treasury yield curve, that's still upside down, and it's been that way for a long time. The inverted Treasury curve, the yield curve, if it's inverted, it's almost been 100% predictor of a recession for the last 50 years. Whatever happens, you need to have an emergency preparedness plan. Now, this is a component of your career plan. We're not going to talk about the emergency preparedness plan today, other than this is the plan that focuses on how you will respond professionally, personally, and financially if you experience an unexpected layoff or termination. You simply just can't sit back and say, it'll be okay, because it's taking a lot longer to find jobs now. It used to be 4 to 6 months for managers, 6 to 8 months for executives. Executives now are finding themselves sometimes 12, 14, 16, 18 months in job searches. And there are people, I've had several people call me. If you were on our live stream earlier today, we were talking again about how, some people are worried about being homeless. People who are they're not random people. These are people that were having a really good, solid career. They had tried to save some money. They were, maybe bought a car, maybe bought a small house someplace. But the one person said, John, I'm running out of money. And if I can't make rent, I will be homeless. I'm 29 years old. I have been very successful in my career. I can't believe this is happening. And what I am saying is, going forward, to avoid this kind of incredible phenomenon, these heart-wrenching stories, is that you have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead. And it's not up here, I'm going to do this or that, because most everybody that I've met that didn't have a written plan comes into the job search and they're totally lost. They don't know where they want to go. If they've had a bad outcome, or if they're really unhappy with what they're doing, they don't have a plan. And it just is going to take those people a lot longer. So you need to have an emergency plan. That is essential today, so you can get through a crisis in your career. And, you're going to have those periodically. So you need to be able to know, do I have enough money in cash reserves to be able to supplement a severance program that may not be adequate, especially with the exploding times of finding a new job. So that's something for you to consider. Now let's move on to what's going on in the marketplace. Automation and now AI is, I keep saying this, but are dramatically altering how job searches are being conducted. The technological advances that we're seeing and talking to people in the industry, the next 5 to 7 years are going to be consequential. The changes are going to be significant. Computers will be doing the recruiting and screening. Computers, not people. Computers will be doing more and more of the recruiting and screening, and the recruiters will be managing logistics. Now, the world of executive search is going to be transformed, and there's good news and bad news about that. Now, my colleagues in the executive search says, no, there's always going to be a role for us. And in fact, there will be some firms that are survived this who will be focusing on the highest level searches. But all of those jobs that used to go out to contingency agency firms for managers, supervisors, you're going to see less and less of that because people are able to use companies like Indeed, iHire, ZipRecruiter, and absolutely use technology to find and screen their own candidates. So it's still applicant tracking system. You still have to, when you submit a resume, just because you're not loading it up line to some company, you still have to customize your resume. So anyway, these are tremendous changes, and they will affect how you pursue a job in the future, how you have to manage your career in the future. As Marshall Goldsmith said in his book, great title, and it really applies to what we're talking about today. What got you here won't get you there. Okay? So what does this mean for how I manage my career? Well, I think it's one of the most consequential career questions of this decade. It is going to require you to make a significant change, and that's why we're talking about this today. I love this quote from the great Tolkien series. It does not do to leave a live dragon out of your calculations if you live near one, which is a variation of the old Ben Franklin quote, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Well, you can't ignore realities. And the old comment of this is the way it's always been is just folly. That's people who say that, those are the guys that whistle by the graveyard. Okay, let's talk about step one in the career planning process. My recommendation is begin at the end. What does that mean? It means that you really need to think about where you want to end up. You don't want to incrementally go forward. You want to say, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an investment banker. I want to own a hedge fund. I want to be a hospital system CEO. I want to build a healthcare company that reduces cost and improves quality. I want to come up with a new state-of-the-art publishing or news communication company. I have a great idea. All of those things. What do you want to do? And we use in our plan, our career coaching, we use something called the eulogy exercise. You start at the top. When you passed away, hopefully you were retired and had a great retirement, but when you passed away and people gathered to remember you, what was your title? What are they remembering you for? Okay? Were you that health system CEO that you wanted to be? Did you build that successful hedge fund? Were you an incredibly successful global executive recruiter or investment banker? If you don't set those goals out, the chances of you getting there are greatly diminished. In fact, the research shows even today that people who have a written plan, are more likely to achieve their full potential than those that don't. A written career plan will be essential, whether you know whether you're going or not. Now, some people at an early age, they know they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer or a CPA. That's great. And sometimes those goals are consistent in their lives and they achieve those and have satisfying careers. Some people have more generally, I want to work in healthcare, I want to work in publishing, I want to work in science or life sciences, I want to work in pharma, I want to work in design and engineering or construction. Those are great goals, but you need to have a plan to help you lock in to say, what do I want to achieve? Well, John, I just don't know. Well, now is a good time to do some homework, to do some research, and really try to figure it out. Now, people say, look, you're giving me a blank slate, and that just intimidates people. And it creates incredible inertia. No worries, it will work out. It always does. That's one of the common things I hear all the time. I don't need to do this. It's going to work out. Well, guess what? It's not going to work out going forward. The second thing I hear is, I'm uncomfortable thinking about how successful I want to be. Oh, get a life and get over yourself. It's okay to want to be successful. A lot of us have started out in life and we didn't think it was okay to be successful. And, we wasted half our lives saying, yeah, it is okay to be successful, because being successful means you can do a lot of good to help people and help your family and have a great life. So yes, it's okay to be successful. Third thing I hear is, well, I might fail. Well, okay. So what are we going to do? We're just going to decide we're not going to have much of a career because we might fail. So we're going to really push ourselves down and just have a job that pays the bills until we die. Okay, I think that's really silly. Now, fourth is people might think I'm arrogant or egotistical if they found out that I had this career plan and it was in writing. Get over yourself again. This is your plan. This is not something you're flashing out on the LinkedIn profile or sharing with your colleagues at work. This is your plan. It's very personal between you and your spouse or partner, and it is essential that you write it down. So people say, well, I kind of don't know what I want to do. Well, start doing some homework. If you don't have a dream, you're not going to achieve much, because the great things that happen in life, building a great family, building a great business, having a great faith relationship, doing good work in the community, a lot of those things started as dreams. People thought, I'd like to be that way. My dad was like that, or my mother was really active, or my grandfather was this great community. I would like to. That's a dream. That's an aspiration. So think about that. How do you achieve that goal? What steps do you have to take? You have to do your homework. And as you do your homework, you're going to find yourself getting yourself more focused, and you're going to decide, well, that's really not for me. I thought once upon a time I wanted to be a lawyer, and I didn't know anything about ADHD. Later in life, I figured out that I had it when one of my sons was diagnosed. But, he had it and went on to become a lawyer, and I'm so proud of him. But you need to find out, is this dream, what kind of degrees are you going to have? What kind of certifications or licensure? Is there an apprenticeship? You don't need to go to college to have a great, fulfilling dream. I know people in my community who have built incredible businesses that weren't college graduates. They were plumbers. They built incredibly successful car repair shops, body shops, carpentry companies, home building companies. One guy said, what I really enjoy doing is I enjoy helping people fix problems in their house. I don't make a lot of money, but it's so satisfying and I love it. Great. Then make that, if you're in that ilk, and that's something that really excites you, then start trying to define what it is you want to do. And you know what? You may do some research and you may decide, nope, it's not for me. I decided the law was not for me. My dad was a very, very successful retail baker in Tyler, but I was not artistically oriented, and most of the money in that business is in cake decorating, and I didn't want to be a slave to an itinerant cake decorator who might not show up for work, who might I didn't have the skill. My father and my brother were both talented cake decorators. I was the guy who washed pots and pans and delivered the cakes very well, I might add. But anyway, degrees, certifications, or licensure, apprenticeships, types of experience are required. You start thinking, okay, I want to be a CEO of a company that's publicly owned. So what are the steps that other people have taken? Do your homework. Find out how many steps is it going to take? How many years does it take on average for people to begin to achieve their goal? And then you have to be disciplined. But some of this is best guess, average time to achieve your goal. That's all important because you're going to use that information to create the steps that you're going to follow to achieve that goal. Now, really central to building a plan is having a mission, vision, and values. No corporation and no smart person is going to have a plan for their life or their company without a mission, vision, and values, because it helps you focus. We encourage you to use your value brand statement, which is really more oriented for job interviews, but that is an extraordinary tool to help you really be focused. Now, a lot of corporate mission, vision, and value statements are just absolute garbage. They're pablum, and a lot of hospitals have the stupidest mission, vision, and values. Now, hopefully they're better than now that I've retired from the world of recruiting and I'm not hanging out in hospitals anymore. But some of them they were all generic. I mean, I saw some of one company, I think they used the same one in 10 or 12 different hospitals. They were a big hospital planning company. I think they kept using the same mission, vision, and values. But it's really important. What is my mission in life? What do I want to achieve? How do I want to be involved in my community? What job do I want to have? What do I want to achieve with my career? So when I'm at retirement, I can look back and say, a life well lived. What is my vision and what are my values? And the values are really important because that's going to really help you shape how you communicate, how you deal with people, how you connect with people, how you build relationships. Relationships are so, so important because in the world of networking, and it's important for your career plan. So the tone and content of your messaging is critical, as I just said. So based on your eulogy conclusions, develop a traditional mission, vision, and values statement, a written plan, and then develop a value brand statement. And here's how you do that. You think about your strengths. These are my 15 or 20 strengths that I'm really good. I'm good at these things. Okay, let's narrow that down to 4 or 5, no more, because you want to be focused. At that point, then you start saying, okay, what's the evidence that I am in fact talented in these fields? And you write that down. And then you look at this and you may do some more consolidation and rewriting. And then you have a vision and value statement. And it is when somebody says, hey, John, why should we hire you? You're basically going to give them part of your value brand statement, who you are, why you're interested in the job, why they should hire you, what you're all about. They don't want to hear about your resume. They got that. What you want to do is tell them who you are. And that's really important as it integrates in with your career plan. You also want to create a comp plan that reflects your mission, vision, and values and your VBS. Now, a comp plan is kind of short for communications plan. And it basically says, okay, this is what I want to communicate about who I am. This is what I want to communicate about where I'm going and what my values are. And it's the underwire, the undergarment, the underwiring, the foundation, whatever you want to call it, for what you say in public, what you post in public online, how you conduct yourself with people, how you follow your relationships. That's what this is all about. And you need to have a plan. You need to be thoughtful about this. You need to be intentional. Okay? So now let's talk about creating a process for measuring performance. You can't have a plan and just put it on the shelf and forget about it, because it adds absolutely, you might as well not even do it. Okay? If you're going to have a plan, you need to be and have a system that, and you set specific performance standards. Now you have 2 sets of standards. One is job related and one is career related. You have to manage both of those in tandem, and not doing a good job on your career is not really an option, because that will undermine your career plan goals. So you want to have a process for measuring performance. Now let's start off by saying this. This is something that people go, yeah, but then they don't really take it seriously. Take this seriously. Don't talk about it to people, but put it inside. Make it part of your daily routine. You are responsible for you. You are the CEO of your career, your brand, and your performance. You are responsible for that. You are responsible for the strategy. You are responsible to yourself and your spouse or your partner. Okay? You can't just sit back and go, well, it always works out, because that's not being a good partner for your spouse or your partner. So really lock into this concept. You are the CEO of you. You are responsible for brand management. You are responsible for moving your career up, for having goals, for being accountable for how you perform. You know, the written performance objectives are really key. Annual performance objectives, you're going to have job related and plan related. The job related, you're going to deal with your boss about, did you achieve your goals? Yes. Okay, I want a bonus. If it's plan related, this is where you sit down with your spouse or your partner and say, hey, this is, when we started this year, this is what I said I wanted to accomplish at work and in terms of professional growth. Here's how I did. And you want to be sure that you have spousal engagement or partner engagement in this process, because if you aspire to move up the ladder, that may mean that you're going to have to make 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 moves. Now, you're not going to have to make as many moves as the great people that serve in the military services. If you aspire to be an senior officer in the Army or Navy or Air Force, you're probably going to move 25 or 30 times. And, so it takes a special spouse or partner to support that. But, you need to include your spouse or your partner in this planning process. You need to be accountable to them. You need to let them know what's going on. You need to, because that's the way you can get encouragement and support. One couple that I went through and helped do this, they said it absolutely, they didn't realize that their relationship had gotten off the wrong path. And they said it absolutely stimulated, energized, and really enriched their relationship. And so now that his career planning is, they say it, it helps the work-life balance. Okay, that's really important. So look at your performance quarterly and annual accountability for job and career goals. And you need to have some career plans, because even the best people, bad things happen to them. Companies get acquired, bosses get fired, and new bosses don't want anything to do with you. And so suddenly you had a great job, you were making a great income, and now on a Friday afternoon, your boss brings you in and says, "Well, you've been here a long time, but now that I'm running the business, I want to go in a different direction. So this is your last day. We're going to give you a little severance. We're going to pay your benefits for a while, but you need to start looking for another job." Okay, even if they give you career transition, that is a huge shock. That is a huge, huge, unbelievable emotional, cathartic situation. People say that after being fired suddenly without expectation, that it took them forever to get re-engaged. It was like going through normal grief of losing a loved one. And that's exactly what happens. So you need to have contingency plans, and you need to have funding mechanisms for those contingency plans. What are you going to do? Where are you going to do it? How is the family going to pull together? How is your partner going to interact with you? You can't let these things just hang out there. You have to be intentional and talk to one another. Okay. One of the things that we really, really are stressing in this career plan is that you are responsible for brand management and networking. If you're not doing networking going forward, you are going to be miserable in your career management, because without a network, you're going to have to depend on the computer, the online applications. Right now, for every time you submit an online application, for every 10 applications that are submitted, 7 to 8 are never even seen by a human. The computer kicks them out because they didn't score high enough on the scan of the algorithm. So you don't want to be in that boat. You don't want to have to depend on blue lights, code, and some machine whirling around in the middle of the night. You want to depend on people who can take you through the side door, who know you're a good person, who know what you've accomplished in your life, with whom you have a great relationship because you've taken the time over the years to nurture that relationship, to build those ties at professional meetings, on weekends, or however you can pull those relationships together. Those are really, really important. So you need to have annual goals and a comp plan. Now, you have to have monthly activities for communicating what you're going to do. I have an opportunity to do a speech for the local affiliated chapter of the hospital group. Okay, great. What are you going to say? What are you going to emphasize? You have a subject matter they're asking you to speak on, but what do you want them to know about you? What do you say that people say, "Wow, we really like this guy. He's really a nice guy." You know why that's important? Because employers tend to hire qualified people they like and trust. So how are you going to build trust with your colleagues in your community, in your region, and nationally? So you need to have a plan, and you need to think about it. People say, "Gosh, that's just presumptuous, and that's just arrogant, and I'm not going to do it." Okay, I won't see you at the finishing line, perhaps, because I think you will find out that the structural changes that are occurring without a network, without those kinds of relationships, your good job, your good deeds, your performance won't be enough, because it's becoming so automated and so reliant on computers that without those personal relationships, you're going to get sidetracked. Even when you start in it, or you're in a job and you've been there 2 or 3 years, and you're thinking, "Okay, honey, I'm at this point now. I think my next step up is to be a senior VP of operations. And there are a lot of positions coming open. Let's talk about where we would like to live, and then let's focus on organizations and opportunities in areas that would be good for our family or good for our relationship." And so within 18 to 24 months prior to that, really getting active in that area, you start preparing for a transition. You don't talk about it to anybody. You don't start going around interviewing, but you change, you ramp up your networking, you ramp up your online activities to build, connections and ties. Now, theoretically, at the start of your career plan, you say, okay, I'm going to go here, 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 and here. I got to take these steps. Here's where I'd like these steps to be. And then you can start building basic networks in those geographic regions and in those companies to help you make that transition. People that are you get to know through ACHE, people you take to dinner or you have lunch with, people that you really support with support for their family. You just build ties. It's a constant ongoing process. And when you say, okay, you want to target geographies and organizations where you would like to work. And you do that because having those relationships will make the difference with whether you're successful or not. Now, you're going to keep adjusting your networking plan because as your career plan evolves, as your experience evolves, you may say, you know what? I've decided I don't want to be a CEO. Really what I want to do is I want to build my own consulting company, or I want to be a chief operating officer, not a chief executive officer, because I really enjoy operations and I don't enjoy all the political things that the CEO has to do with the community and the medical staff, and I don't enjoy that as much. So that's okay. Every business that ever existed has started out with a plan, and the plan got changed and got revised as market conditions changed, as your desires changed. So when you do those major changes in your career plan, then you have to adjust your networking plan so that it stays relevant to what you're trying to accomplish. Now, if you are in the market just to improve your brand, improve your reputation, post 2 to 3 times a week for brand support and visibility, and start getting comfortable with videos, because videos are extraordinarily powerful. People right now, they're being used in video emails, and people that use them say they get a higher open rate and a higher retention rate of the information they're communicating. It is here to stay. We all got used to buying TV lights and studio microphones and all this stuff during the pandemic, and we thought, okay, that was nice, but it's all going to go away. No, it's not. It's here to stay. More and more interviews, even today with no travel extensions, a lot of the interviews are being done online, and that is only going to go more. It's only going to get more. So it's going to be more common, And so we're going to try to develop some courses on how to improve your presence, how to improve your presentation on video, because that's really important. If you're slouching over and kind of looking down away all the time, people won't think you're interested. Your video presence will be very, very important. So that's a little bit off subject, but video is important. Start to get comfortable with that, okay? Now, step 4, execution and updates. Really an important thing here. Your career plan, just like the corporate strategy, will need constant revision, and you're going to be updating it. This is normal. Be honest with yourself. If you start to feel that you're just not as enthused about what you're doing as you were when you came up with this idea, when you came up with this vision, when you came up with this goal, do not let an earlier vision or goal redirect your journey. This is all about doing what you're passionate about, what you love doing, and hopefully how you can make a decent living for your family. And you're going to change. This is a long journey. This is no sprint. If you're starting off and you're 30 years old or mid-30s, you still have an extraordinary journey ahead of you. Even if you're 40 or 45, you still need to do this, okay? Even if you're 50, you still need to do this. Why? Because, your plans may change. Your values may change. Something happens. You may have a health event in your life, and suddenly your whole values, everything you thought you wanted to do, changes. I can certainly tell you, especially when you have open heart surgery. It's extraordinary how things will change your perspective, how they will change your values in terms of what you want to accomplish. Change is natural. Adjust to it. You can't, just because you had an earlier goal that you invested in, you didn't waste anything. You got value from those investments in that goal, but now that goal is not as important to you. Stay focused on what is important to you. Stay focused on what is important to you. And hopefully, stay focused on how you can monetize that, because change is natural. It's inevitable. Please embrace it. Now, video is really, really, really essential. And you're going to see more and more of it. We're using it more and more. There are services like SendSpark that allow you to send video emails, and we're getting ready to do some programming on that. But I want you to start paying attention, because it's a powerful medium, and it's going to be a bigger part of your life. Whether you're in healthcare, whether you're in law, you're in finance, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to use this medium to be able to advance your brand and build your business. Now, is it the best way to do a mission critical job interview? No, because through the video, this filter, you don't know about the culture. You don't know about the politics. You don't know about the community. There are some people that are taking jobs based solely on video interviews. If you're a senior executive, don't make that mistake. It's good. It's it's a way for you to build your brand. It's a way for you to introduce yourself to recruiters. And you know what? One of the big platforms that's going to emerge in career management is YouTube, as we talked about this morning. If you missed the Career Live today, it was all about how to use some ideas about kind of refreshing your acquaintance and reacquainting you with some of the things you can do on LinkedIn, and also to begin thinking about YouTube, because YouTube is the globe's second largest search engine, and it's video driven. And recruiters and candidates are now beginning to look at that platform as a way to promote themselves. So video is very important. I'm going to show you a quick video here. This is one of several that we use for presentation to people who want to connect with me in my role as a coach and previously as a recruiter. Hello, and thanks for connecting with me. I run an online, on-demand career management and job search strategies platform. I joined LinkedIn in its infancy, and this marks my 19th year of sharing and networking as a LinkedIn member. I believe that networking is about helping others and adding value, and that is my commitment to you. I hope you will join me at 7:30 a.m. Central Time every Thursday for Career Live Coffee, for 30 minutes of information and insight on career management, as well as questions and answers. To learn more about our free information and affordably priced career management and job search courses, visit us at johngself.com. For a robust catalog of free career and leadership videos, join our YouTube community at the John G. Self channel. Thanks again for connecting with me. So that's what we do. And you know what? All of that was done with an iPhone. Now, usually when you get that vertical view, that's what they call a short. I also use my streaming service platform to record videos. I also use Zoom's platform because they have very, very good camera and processing capabilities. And I use, anywhere from 1 to 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll talk about some issue. And everything, doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot, you don't have to be this photo genius to do some of this stuff, because bloody hell, I'm sure not. And that's pretty apparent. But we use Keynote to do some of our animated graphics. There are other opportunities out there. We use Canva. So there's just so many tools available to you. Start getting acquainted with video, okay? It's a great opportunity for the future. Now, if any of you are watching and you have any questions, you drop them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on that for the next few minutes. So let's summarize what we talked about today. Career planning is essential. It's absolutely necessary for your future success. The market is changing economically, but it's also changing structurally. More and more, the machines and the algorithms are going to do the recruiting, and people not me anymore, because I get sworn off recruiting, but the people who are corporate recruiters, they're going to be more about organizing and logistics and serving as a liaison with the hiring managers. There will still be executive recruiters, and that's what I did for 27 years and traveled all over the world doing that. And it was an extraordinary career. I loved it. But I've loved everything I've done in my life, from being a crime writer, investigative reporter, to being the first director of Life Flight at Herman Hospital, to building several successful companies. It has been a great time. I got lucky because when I started out, I was all intuitive and I didn't have a plan. But I will be the first one to tell you that the market has changed and I could not be successful doing today what I did then. What got me here won't get me there. And what got me here is now not going to work in the future. So I encourage you to really look forward to the planning process. It's a joy. You can sit down with your wife or your partner and say, let's talk about where I'm going, as an income earner for the family, and where you would like to see us go, and get involved. Don't It's a blank page, and that's intimidating, but don't let that intimidation, don't let that inertia keep you from doing this. Okay? I hope this has been helpful information. If you have anything that you want to share with us in the future, let me know at john@johnggself.com, and I'll see you next Wednesday, at 4 p.m. for office hours here on johnggself.com.